Hi, welcome to How to D&D. My name is Frederick Weller, and today I'm going to review, or flip through, not so much review, but flip through the new adventure, Storm King's Thunder. This is a flip through of Storm King's Thunder. It will have spoilers. This adventure is for characters levels 1 to 10 plus. The disclaimer here says, creatures and objects in this adventure are bigger than they appear. No giant beanstalks were damaged and no golden geese were harmed in the making of this book. The contents page has got 12 chapters and it is broken up into, well, it's laid out really well, almost like an index. It has locations by page, it has maps, so you can actually find the maps by page number. It has a non-player character section which actually gives you the name of the non-player character, a description of that character, and where to find them in what chapter. It doesn't give page numbers, which would have been more useful. Introduction, background here, the different runes, what they look like, their names in giant and in common. You have the key players. Each of the key players are talked about. That's King Hecaton, Queen Neri, and Mirana, Nim, and Ceresia? Yes. Okay. The different giant factions, and there's 6, these are talked about in detail in terms of how they would operate and work. It's all in the front of the book, which is very helpful. Running the adventure is talked about. You're going to see a lot of full page or 2-page artwork in this adventure, which is quite cool, good for players. It goes over the actual synopsis of the adventure. It has a flowchart. Now, this is probably the best section here. It shows you what happens, how it works into the rest of the adventure, what level the characters will be. It also explains this adventure is for levels 5 upward, but there is a section that runs from levels 1 to 4, 1 to 5 in the adventure called the Upheaval. It gives you information on what you could find in a giant's bag, different treasures, random stuff. The giant upheaval is talked about here. It's basically a starting point. You could use a different adventure to lead everybody into this. It's 256 pages of adventure book, which is pretty much what we've been seeing for the last year or so, which is great. The format, basically you are dealing with the fermentation of a conflict between the giants and the small folk, and the party are going to try and stop this from actually beginning. You are going to find this is all Forgotten Realms setting again. If you are sick of the Forgotten Realms, you're probably going to be a little bit upset by this adventure book. It is based off Shakespeare's story King Lear, so lots of influence from that particular writer. It is going to cost you about $50 US. You can buy it from Amazon for about 30 something bucks, and the book depository with free shipping is probably what I would recommend. Anywhere else in the world, then Amazon doesn't really work very well. Not for me if I'm in New Zealand. I think I paid roughly $54 New Zealand, which is good. You're going to come across different factions in this adventure. This I'm just flicking through as the barbarians and the different tribes. There's lots of creature and encounter charts, random charts, things like that. This is a great section. This gives you a great map of the general layout of the entire area that they will be adventuring through. It's really broadened out what we've seen so far. There are 18 special NPCs, which at the very front it describes, but later on you actually get a lot more information, which is very helpful, and it's all in one location. It's either in the front or the back if you want to look for those NPCs. There are no new player options, feats, classes, backgrounds, so if you were looking for that, you might be a little bit upset. This is not a sandbox adventure. It is more a linear with multiple paths that you can sort of take that pretty much lead you to the same place. So if you didn't like the sandbox adventures, then you're not going to need to deal with them this time, because this is not set up like that. Milestones are heavily used in this adventure. You will find that there are lots of notes at the end of a chapter telling you how to use milestones what the characters should be at a particular point. The environments are usually described in each chapter. The general environments are given in box text in grey in a sidebar, which is very helpful. There are lots of classic fantasy monsters. We're talking about giants and dragons, but in fact there are a huge range of different monsters in this adventure. If you weren't seeing that in some of the other adventures, you will see it here. There are lots of combat adventures. You've got flying ships, castles, you name it. But there is lots of opportunity to engage in complex and dynamic roleplay with goals that involve doing something other than actually killing stuff, which is always nice. There's many factions involved in competition in this adventure between the giants, the dragons, and there might in fact be a mysterious mastermind behind all of this, which you'll going to hopefully find out about later on. This is not really a remake of Against the Giants, so if you think it was or was going to be something like that, it is not. It is its own story. They will come across, the party will actually come across cultists from the Prince of the Apocalypse adventure, the air cult, the Howling Hatred, I believe it is. Every giant race will be encountered in this adventure, which is good. That means you're going to get a nice broad range of different things happening. Here we go. Here we got fire giants, big artwork. There is pixie dust in this adventure. I didn't realise, but apparently there is. Harshnag, the frost giant, shows up again in this adventure. You might have come across him in Rise of Tiamat. The adventure book provides a lot of detail on areas that the older adventures have already been to. Look, there's a floating cloud castle, which is cool and quite pretty. Treasure is actually pretty plentiful in this adventure. As I was flicking through, I found that most of it was there was a broad range, and there was plenty of it. You won't have your players getting too upset because there weren't any gold coins or items to pick up as you go. Every time I keep flicking a page and I see the artwork, I'm reminded just how lovely it is. King Hecaton has disappeared, so you are going to have the party trying to find out what happened to King Hecaton. We have here a flying ship, which looks a little bit like a kraken. That'll play more into this adventure as you go. All the different factions are in this adventure. The Harpers, Zentarum, Lord's Alliance, all that sort of stuff, and the New Kraken Society. Now, you can link this adventure with some of the older adventures, like the Lost Mine of Phandelver, the Princes of the Apocalypse, Out of the Abyss. You can all link that in. The magic items are rune magic. Most of it's rune magic items, but there's a few that aren't. This rune magic seems to be able to be applied. You can transfer it to a location, or you can transfer it to the surface of another object, which is helpful. And there we go. Somebody just lost their head. It's really, really pretty artwork. Okay, the different creatures. There's about 9 different creatures. We've got a crag cat, hulking crabs, dawn titans, and the purple wormling. There are yak folk in this as well, just here on this page. There are new giant options for cloud giants, fire giants, hill giants, stuff like that. Now this is probably the best section here. At the very end, as I was saying, special NPCs. It gives you the stat block, their attacks, their defences, and their roleplay details. It actually gives you ideals, bonds, what their flaws are, how to actually roleplay the character. It has got a dotted line so you can photocopy it and cut them out. And it specifically says that you can photocopy it and cut this stuff out. So if you're worried about that, don't worry about it. You'll be fine. Okay, I'm pretty impressed by this adventure. I have to say I want to run it. I certainly would actually like to play it myself. It is a linear adventure, but I think it's actually worth your money. I don't have anything more to add on Storm King's Thunder, the new adventure book. Please share, like and subscribe if you found this flip through helpful. Hopefully I have added something that you haven't seen before. Please make a comment below. Tell me, what did you think of the adventure book when you picked it up? Until next time, keep rolling those 20s.